After years of preparation and training, athletes based around the world have come together to represent their nations in the heart of Southeast Asia. Here at the magnificent Thai Polo Club grounds in Pattaya, Thailand, Asian athletes have had the opportunity to represent their nations in the 3 Olympic disciplines of dressage, eventing and jumping at the first Asian Championships. And today, after a week of competition, it all comes down to this, the individual final for jumping. Well, hello and welcome to the Thai Polo Club here in Pattaya for the individual final. A meter 50 class.
Top 12 will progress forward to round number 2, and those scores just keep adding up.
I'm John Kyle. We're very much looking forward to the 2 rounds of jumping today. 23 in the first round, 12 looking to qualify, come back, and those points that they've been picking up all week, those championship points, are critical. Taizo Sugitani, our leader, he will come into the arena last, looking to jump another clear round. Well, also on our team this week is Sarah Rippon, and Sarah has taken the opportunity to catch up with our designer, Olaf Pedersen. Sarah.
Yes, John, I'm here at the in-gate and I'm delighted to be joined by course designing maestro Olaf Pedersen. It's the last day, it's the individuals. Is there a particular part of this course that's going to challenge them, or are questions going to come from everywhere?
Well, questions come from everywhere, but key points are always the combinations. I have 2 combinations here, 1 double combination and 1 triple combination, and these are the most difficult parts.
And you were telling me earlier that these fences, you don't just design the course, you design the fences, you build the fences in Germany, and it comes over on a ferry?
Yes, they come by boat. They come with a container, and they are on the way for about 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, that's so amazing. My favourite jumps are particularly the elephants, and we'll see how the riders tackle them. Back to you, John.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and of course 2-time Olympic course designer Olaf Pedersen. Well, it is 28 degrees Celsius here this afternoon with some breezes, 18 kilometers an hour on the breezes there. And as I mentioned, it is the end of a week of jumping for these contenders, and 2 days ago we decided the team medals, and what a day it was for Hong Kong Equestrian. They ended up finishing on their overnight score thanks to 3 out of their 4 riders jumping clear round, and the hero of the hour taking the gold was Kenneth Chang, who sits in individual bronze medal position.
I think for myself in general it's a little bit less pressure, because there's the factor where we don't want to disappoint our teammates, our nation, etc., etc. But it's still a lot of effort, especially at a championship like this. We're jumping 5 rounds, so really we have to stay focused from day one, and because the points accumulate to our individual rounds. So if one day you're not feeling so well or you're not performing so well, it really affects your overall ranking.
Well, as the athletes walked the course a little earlier, we reminded ourselves of our athletes in focus, those top 4 riders. And Reona Leung sits in 4th position, the Hong Kong rider there, walking the course with Mike Leschner, with whom she's trained for many years. The top 4 riders in our championships all jumped double clear for their nations. Kenneth Cheng jumped double clear in that Nations Cup. He's in bronze medal position on just 2.68 championship points, with our leader on 2.01. Also there alongside Reona Leung is Yunying Ella Wang, the Chinese individual rider who's been jumping so well since day one. She lies in silver medal position on the left-hand side of that shot. And 6-time Japanese Olympian Taizo Sugitani is in the lead on 2.01. He came to these championships with the intention of taking the gold, and he is in exactly the right place. So we come forward in reverse order of championship points. So it's Boseong Kim who comes in first of our contenders. Also then we've got Saeed Adnan Al-Alawi there, for instance, on 22.12. Getting down to 15 points then for Keshvares. Edel for Iran. Over the page then we have some of our very successful riders. Al-Kharafi there for Kuwait, he was the day 1 leader, now on 14 points. Marie-Antoinette Levis, Patrick Lam, eventing medalist for Hong Kong. And then you've got Leung, Cheng, Wang and Sugitani, our top 4. Say Leung just over a pole behind, but the top 3, there is really nothing between them. Olaf Pedersen of Germany is our designer. 87 seconds is the time allowed, and my goodness, this is a tough course. It's not just the step up to meter 50, but he set a real Grand Prix style to this course. Speaking to some of the coaches, some of the riders, and they've said this is a very different sport to what we've seen so far this week. Let's have a little bit of a look at what Olaf has set out here in the Grimm Grand Prix Arena in Pattaya. There's a lot of 8-stride distances in here, and remember, we've stepped up to meter 50 and we get pretty much to meter 50 over the first and ride probably 8 strides down towards the in-gate, out and over this oxer. He rolls them back away from the in-gate, and that's important. I keep mentioning that in-gate because you've got to have your horse's attention on the jumping and not on the in-gate, back to the rest of the herd, as it were. A slight curving line up here to the baby elephants at number 4, and then turning back now to the pagoda at number 5. From number 5, it's possibly a forward 6 strides here to the triple combination, and he's absolutely right. The triple today is going to be influential. 2 strides, 1 stride, oxer, meter 50 vertical, and out over another oxer. They roll back here. There's an opportunity here for a mistake because it's the same roll back to the triple bar, but they roll back to the vertical and then ride the dog leg up to the open water, and that'll come up as 8 strides as it walks, but most people will find their own line there, inside or outside. Here again, 9 to 10 down the far side of the ring. It's a very wide oxer, I think more than meter 50 wide, before 8 strides down to a meter 50 high BMW vertical. Here now is the rollback turn to the Thai Polo triple bar, setting them up for home. And again, another 8 curving strides before the last, and he set up just a tricky little distance in there, coming out over the oxer to finish the double at 12 AB.
This is an athlete that was seen jumping over in
so 23 will start on this final day. 12 will come back for the second round based on championship faults. Boseon Kim with Ypsilon B is going to be our first to go. 51.28 is Boseon's score. It's quite interesting. I was talking to some riders who their horses were fine, they were qualified, they'd passed all the veterinary inspections, but they decided not to run as one of the 25 today because they just went, my horse has done enough jumping this week, I was too far off the pace. For other riders though, this is an unparalleled opportunity to come in and ride a course like this. So actually you've got people quite far off the pace deciding to stay in or drop out for various reasons. And Boseon Kim here and the Koreans, they'll be coming in to just get their little bit of experience over a meter 50 Grand Prix style track like this. So rides that first line on the 8 strides. The rollback turn here now from 3. The max win, horse feeds and supplements. Clear the baby elephants. It's a long 10-stride distance up the arena. We'll just keep an eye on that and see how our 87 seconds time allowed might come as well. My apologies to you as I just look at the score and see that it's 50.24. It tells me that it is Jae Kyung Lee and Pomo JBP. We had the 2 Korean riders at the beginning of the class. Abject apologies on that, but with 4 faults now, they go up to a championship score of 54.24. And just you saw, did they necessarily have the rideability and control around that corner? It just looked a little bit hairy. They've got to be really in control coming down to this, and they just get that little bit close in, and the horse then doesn't have the room in front of the jump to get the height out over the meter 50. And that, putting the triple bar on the beginning of this distance as well, that's exactly what he intended it to do. He intended it to push them too far into the 8-stride distance, and Jae Kyung ends up taking both rails there in the final double. So today it is 16 jumping faults for Jae Kyung Lee and Pomo, so 66, correct, 66.24 is their championship total. Just the 12 best scores get to come back for round 2 today. So Jae Kyung and Pomo leave the arena for, on 66 points, you might say, the last time this week, as we turn our attention over to Iran. Farhang Sadeghi and Quick and Step by contender. 43.56 is Fadri's score. Farhang.
43.56 penalties. Quick and Step and speed.
So Farhang Sadeghi, Quick and Step, 43.56 the overnight score for the Iranian rider. Two Iranians with us here at the championships. They weren't able to put together a full team, unfortunately. The Adel Kejavaz coming in later on, lying in 12th overnight. Farhang rode last year's Jakarta Asian Games with this horse. Had a very good result in a Grand Prix in Belgium just recently. Actually jumped clear on day 2 of the Nations Cup. The scores for Farhang have been getting better and better as the week goes on. It's a failure to complete on day 1 that has contributed the majority of their scores. In the 2 days of Nations Cup jumping, they just had a single rail. That's 6 strides. Ended up again leaving them very close into the triple combination. We see 2 rails go in there out of the 3 jumping efforts. Gets there on a nice 8 actually up to the open water. Be conscious, I think, of the 87 seconds time allowed, going deep out into that corner, back to the triple bar, and coming up to the final line. 8 jumping falls from the triple, 12 jumping falls including the last, and into time. So it is 12 for jumping, 1 for time for Farhang Sadeghi and Quick and Step, so with 13 to add. 56.56 is their championship score.
Coming down the replay over the offset, tries to just sit up through the distance, and then just catches that front row behind.
Well, now for the Uzbekistan challenge here. The Uzbeks had a very good day 1 in Nations Cup. They were in position for a medal, unfortunately drifted out to 4th in the second day of jumping. Sedemirkon Turgenboev and Kaleko are in the ring now for Uzbekistan, lying in 20th overnight on 37.7, as we look for our first clear here of final 1. You just see there, armed with his red flag, Kazuya Hirayama, the Japanese judge, part of the jury here for these championships. Just hear through the audio, rattle the first, tap the second after the 8 strides. So this combination have touched every rail so far. How long can their luck stay with them? They get a great clean jump there over the baby elephants as they turn back to this line now, going to the triple. So he does the add down there. You can see him holding. He had his plan. He executed it. Yeah, when Wound up on a nice short distance there to the water. They're jumping so far, just jumping the water very easily out of their stride, no sort of overriding it and getting wound up about it. Because the horses, they read that sort of tension and over anticipation of the water, and if they really over jump it, if they get high in the air or misunderstand what the rider wants, it's so easy for them to just plummet back down into the water or onto the judging tape. 87 seconds time allowed is looking a little bit snug. It's clear for jumping for Sedemir on Tergenboer, and that is his best round of jumping in a couple of days, but it is one for time. So 38.70 is now the championship total for Sedemir on Tergenboer.
And the score will be 38.70 there. This is Martin Tugabov and Kaleko for Uzbekistan. Standing by and about to get underway in just a second is the first of our individual athletes for Indonesia, Brian Ratikoen and Aragon Savoy. This is the horse who's been jumping over in Kronenberg, picked up some nice places there. He's got so many good Aragon
Indonesia now,
Brian
Brian Ratikoen with Aragon Savoy.
And they're all going really well for him at the moment. Aragon Savoy and Brian Ratikoen for Indonesia.
Move up once again in terms of championship scores. Now we have a rider on 29.99. Brian Ratikoen, not a bad day one, but 9 faults and then 12 faults on the 2 days of team jumping. But this is the combination that takes us inside the top 10. Oof. It's going to have that vertical on the way up to the water for sure. So that puts them over the 30 championship penalties mark. So final line, did a very nice job, landed very steep and therefore short behind that triple bar, but still has a rail coming through the double. So it's 8 for jumping, 1 for time for Brian Ratikoen. So 9 to add here this afternoon.
89.43 the time, Brian Ratikoen.
That is going to drop them a place because on 38.99 they will go behind Sedemir on Tergenboer and Kaleko, championship score of 38.70.
So 5 combinations gone so far.
You just see the horse just not really letting the rider complete their turn right the way into that vertical. And this, I thought they'd absolutely nailed that distance up there, just unlucky going into the double at the end there for the Indonesian rider Brian Ratikoen, and 38.99 now the score.
In the past to the Southeast Asia Games and representing her country in Jakarta.
Sengsol Letretanachai and Kuvil L, 28.53 the championship score for this one. The Thai rider, unfortunately Thailand not having the best result here as a team in show jumping, but they have had a superb championships with team golds in both dressage and eventing so far. A little bit deeper than some, so getting up there on 11. We've seen them get up there on 10. Seng So and Kouvil El, the Vittorio horse.
Take your time.
Ja, you see how short they are.
Just here, going to the voice. Just trying to make sure she's got the control, she's got the horse back with her. Two knockdowns, so 8 jumping faults, 3 for time as well. So we're going to add 11 in all to Seng So on the final day. And that's 39.53, so that drops Seng So 2 places, with Kouvil El goes behind both Sedemir Konturgenbov and Brian Braafte-Koelen. 38.70 is our best championship score to have completed round 1. And still looking for our first clear all the way. Sedemir Konturgenbov did have that single time fault.
That little bit of time faults brings that final total up a little bit to 39.5.
Well, the first of our team medalists that we're going to see, a gold medalist yesterday with Hong Kong, Jacqueline Lai. Jacqueline with confidence by Corner Dobelensky.
They took the gold medal here in the FEI Asian Championships just 2 days ago.
World Games rider last year in Tryon, North Carolina for Hong Kong. Jacqueline has been a bronze medalist at the Asian Games back in 2010, the first of 3 appearances at the Asian Games. Jacqueline also rode at the 2010 Singapore Youth Olympic Games. A bit more positive than some down that first line. Jacqueline ended up being the discard score for her team yesterday, although even using her score, they would have won team gold. It was just that Kenneth Cheng was able to come in and put them back onto their overnight score, but that is going to make her more determined, I think, than ever to try and come in and go clear today. And actually, on Jacqueline's score of 25.27, if she can just make the difference, if she can be clear, there's a very good chance she could rise the 5 places necessary. She's in 17th, just needs to rise 5 places to be one of the 12 coming back. Just goes, gets a little reminder with the whip at the exact right moment. She is executing her plan perfectly here so far. Oh, that was a shame because she just couldn't get the horse to settle into the stride and the rhythm coming down to that BMW vertical. You felt that there was a very good chance it was going to go from a couple away. He gets up quick there to the double, and unfortunately they both go. So it's going to be 12 jumping faults.
It's going to be 12 penalties there for Jacqueline Lai.
So Confidence and Jacqueline Lai with the 12 to add, and that is going to be 37.27. Now that is still better than Sedemir Konturgenbov. So she'll hold on to her position 17th, but at the moment it's real nip-tuck as to whether she will be able to move up to the extent that she might be able to come back for the individual final. Round number 2, open to just 12 riders.
Domino effect coming down there through the uprights and over that offset as well. But we head from one medalist to another. Dalia
Al-Zaham and Richberg de Justley by l'Arc de Triomphe. 22.66 is the score for this combination.
Richberg de Justley, Dalia Al-Zaham, 48, carrying forwards, 22.66.
Q80's jumped very well this week. They were actually probably a little bit unlucky to have been knocked off silver medal, where they were the position they were cruising for most of the week, really. Hong Kong looked very imperious out in front, but Kuwait had a very good chance of taking silver as things went on. Unfortunately, just pipped to the post by the Philippines, and it was incredibly close. Dahlia with 8 on the first day, 10 on the second day. And is going to have an early rail here, taking the baby elephants down. Going to take a rail inside the triple combination as well, so suddenly up to 30.66. Still has a fence in hand over Jacqueline Lai to hold on to her position. Plenty have been caught out by the time, so you can just see that Dahlia is really moving along. And sometimes that, though, just pushing forward, pushing the envelope out of your natural rhythm, can result in a pole or two falling. Richberg de Juslet and Dahlia were Asian Games riders last year when the Q80 team finished 4th. He's got to come home with the elephant and one in the triple combination down for 8 faults in 81 seconds. Dahlia Al-Zaham and Richberg de Juslet. They'll be on 30.66 here on the final day. We'll see whether that's going to be enough to bring them back. We still have yet to see a combination finish under a championship score of 30.
We'll be heading forward into round number 2 this afternoon. Once we've seen 12, we'll keep you up to date with how that leaderboard looks. See the replayer there coming down over that box there and then making your way down here through that triple combination. 2 strides through there, just rubs it behind it and manages to sit up through the distance and make it safely out over that offset.
Well, here now in the red coat of Bahrain, Saeed Adnan Al-Alawi with Balu Yu by Balu Bederue. Saeed jumped well on day 1, unfortunately 10 faults and 5 faults on the 2 days of team jumping, and that is a total of 22.12 that they carry into this final day, sitting in 15th position as things currently stand. Saeed, Asian Games last year with this horse, also had the opportunity to ride the 5-star tour at the Royal Windsor Horse Show in Great Britain last May. He's just a little bit idle coming off the last stride there into the baby elephants. And again, with all these fences just stepping up as much as 10 centimeters over what we had in the earlier rounds. That is one question, but actually the relationship of the fences to each other, the way he set them, the order in which he set them, those stride patterns, because they're not all straight plumb strides. You've got to, as a rider, have your plan, what you're going to do to answer the distance he has set. And that is what's making this into a true Grand Prix course. The height of the fences is actually almost immaterial to a lot of these horses. I mean, you could set any of these horses down a well-set grid of fences that would top out at meter 70, meter 75 at the end, and they would jump them all clear. It's about having the answer to these striding questions and these relationship questions between the jumps, the curving lines. 2, unfortunately, down in the double as well. It's going to be 16 here for Saeed Adnan Al-Alawi, and that is going to turn into 38.12, so we'll drop him quite a few places, and it's going to move Dahlia Al-Zaham for Q8 up the order here, up into at least 15th. Jacqueline Lai also moves up a place.
Getting down to our final 13 or 14 combinations coming forwards. A couple have already had that golden elephant. I think we may see a couple more have it as well. This final line certainly causing some issues today. But both parts come down. A bit of a domino effect as he rolls down towards the finish. Chinese double picnics where we go next. Li Yongshan and Imperial Zuno. carrying forward 19.58, and Yulong's got some great young horses at the moment coming through. We've seen him over in Europe with those. Best of luck to him today. Representing Chinese Taipei, Yulong Xian and Evira Zuno on 19.58.
Chinese Taipei now, Yulong Chen and Eviros Uno by numero uno. 19.58 the score here for Yulong. This is our first score coming into today, under 20, and we have yet to see anyone bring home a score under 30 at the end of this round of jumping. Still no clears. Sedemir Contergenberg is the only rider to have jumped all the fences, but he wasn't able to do it inside the 87 seconds time allowed. Just saw that high vertical, the meter 50 vertical in the middle of that two-stride, one-stride triple rattle there for Evira Zuno and Yulong Chen. Got quite an inside line there and a very sweet spot off the 7 strides over the water. It walks 8, but Yulong was on a real inside one there. He had to really fight to hold on for 7 down that line. So that's his first penalties as Yulong and Evira's Uno come around to this final line. Triple bar. 8 strides, rattle, it goes. So 8 faults, 27.58 for Yulong Chen at the end of the final day of jumping. Not necessarily the end, because there's still round 2 to come. Yulong was in 14th position overnight, stays in that 14th spot and only needs to rise 2 places to be an individual finalist.
Round number 2, which will be our medal decider here at the FEI Asian Championships in Pattaya 2019. Taking a look here as he comes down this double. It's a little roll, it kind of rolls about for a while before it finally falls. But it is a state penalties. Denise Christian comes next then for Indonesia. Raquel van der Brockenborg and Galvin van Darko. They're on 17.05, and this one's been finishing top 10 over the last few weeks on the European circuit.
So Denise Christian Sanjaya, score of 17.05, so 13th position in the championship so far. This is the one quite literally knocking on the door of a place in the second round today. Denise, team gold medalist at the Southeast Asian Games back in 2011 with Indonesia, riding this horse for a couple of seasons now. Could be one of the first to have number 2 on course down. Oof, this is getting expensive, because his nearest competitor, Yulong Chen, is on 27.58. And just like Denise is looking to move up into that top 12 for this afternoon's final. They might both yet make it. But Denise is in a much better position if he can stay in front of Yulong Chen. To do that, he can't afford another pole. And there it goes. So now Yulong Chen is the one breathing down the neck of the top 12 yet to jump, as drifting back to a score of 29.05 is Denise Christian Sanjaya and Barco van der Valkenburg. BMW is going to go again and again in this competition on that line. And we have that exact same line, is 1-2 in the second round course. Whether he's going to alter the distance, I'm not sure. We shall look closely. Just inside the time, it's 16 jumping faults for Barco van der Valkenburg and Denise Christian Sanjaya here with us in round one of the individual final at Pattaya. 33.05 becomes his championship score and drops down from 13th to 15th. 2 places down the order behind Yulong Chen and also Dalia Al-Zaham.
Comes down over that upset, catches the front rail there. It's him just trying to straighten up here. Catches it at the angle and just causes him to catch it behind. Then makes his way down towards the last step. Right, let's move on then to Adel Kashavaz.
Adel Kashavaz, Adel with classic 4-7 riding for Iran. Very good 2 days of Nations Cup jumping. 1 for time on the first day, just 5 jumping faults yesterday, or 2 days ago before the rest day. Adel on a score of 15.53, holds at the moment one of those golden tickets into the second round of the final. He sits in 12th position. One of the things is in the second round, although a lot of the lines will be very similar, he'll string them together in a different order, but the riders will come back again in reverse order of merit, so the early riders will be the ones testing and probing Olaf Pedersen's course. But at the moment, we're still not just finding anyone who can really answer all the questions. To go back, Sedamer Konturgenboev for Uzbekistan jumped clear but couldn't make the time. And he's making the move along, 375 meters a minute, the pace they have to achieve. But as long as Adel can finish under 27.58 in this round of jumping, he is confirmed as a starter in the second round. Does rattle the BMW after his 8 strides ride, but it stays in place. Oh, this last, it really does ask a big question. Classic 4-7 and Adel Kashavaz are going to be faulted on time again, the 3rd day of competition in a row that they fault on time. 4 for jumping, 1 for time, 5 in all for the Iranian rider, and that is going to be 20.53 penalties, but 12th position minimum.
16.34.
So Adel confirmed as a finalist here this afternoon, still to come. We go on to Q80 rider Abdullah Al-Raudan with La Luna. Pretty much top 10 on day 1, but then an 8 and a 4 in the 2 days of Nations Cup jumping for Abdullah, and a score of 15.02. We see Abdullah and La Luna a lot in Europe, Verbier, Crans-Montana outdoors in Switzerland this summer, and also Optlebek in the Low Countries. And you just saw him ask the horse to stop, listen, taking a really big, obvious half halt before they committed to the baby elephants. Clear over the triple. And it looks to have the pace to be inside the 87 seconds time allowed. Is this going to be our first clear? The Q80's had a great day of jumping on day 1. jumped well enough to hold on for Team Bronze, of course, but if they'd managed to replicate their day one form, they would have been a real force. Not just silver, but almost threatening for gold in these championships. As it was in the two team days, it wasn't quite for them. And the BMW goes. So the first faults of the round for Abdullah Al Raudan and La Luna coming quite late. And over a track like this, when you start to think about the late fences, it is to do with fatigue. I mean, the horses have worked hard. They've been jumping, they've been athletic, they've been gymnastic, and then you're continuing to ask those questions. Just the one down, Abdullah Al Raudan and La Luna with 4 faults, 19.02. They are going to hold on to their spot of 11th, and they are our first contenders to finish under a score of 20 so far. Here's the reverse angle on that BMW fence as well, just catching it behind. And coming through this last double, it had been catching a lot of people out, but just shows the quality of the jumping we were getting from La Luna and Abdullah Al Raudan. That they answered that question so easily. Just unlucky at the BMW, it could so easily have been our first clear. Azam Tolobeev. Azam with Roxy Baha. 14.26 the championship score for this combination. Rode the horse at the home World Cup for them in Tashkent, and then over in Europe jumping this spring. A lot of the European-based Asian riders here as a result of the Thai Equestrian Federation and the organising committee of these championships at Pattaya making available a free horse flight, basically $1 million value, all added together, of a free horse flight from Europe for contestants for this championships. Great reactions from the crowd as he reaches for and clears each part of that triple combination. Remember, Sedemir Konturgenboev, the first Uzbek rider, is the only rider to have jumped every fence on this course clear so far. Azam doesn't want to make his mistake clearly in terms of getting a time fall, because he is moving. Down over the BMW fence. 3 more jumping efforts to go to maybe be our first clear. Azam Tolobeev lying 10th in the championships. Rides beautifully off that turn. Such commitment, such eye, because he had to ride off his eye to that. Unfortunately, just doesn't make the right distance up after the triple bar. But my goodness, this is not a bad day at all at the office for the Uzbeks. Azam Tolobeev is going to stay in 10th place on what is now a score of 18.26.
And he's on 18.26, so still good enough to play place for the second round. You can see here he just comes in, tries to straighten up, but catches it at the angle, and then just takes that first part down. So well at 4 onto his score, but still good.
It's a very, very positive riding there from Azam for Uzbekistan. 2 good rounds of jumping from the Uzbeks so far.
Now we go to an athlete who was on the podium the other day, picked up a team bronze medal, and also last year,
Ali Al Kharafi, the winner on day 1, but unfortunately 4 and then 10 on the 2 days of team jumping. Ali Al Kharafi now on a score of 14, 9th in the championship. Ali, who took individual gold at the Asian Games last year, rides Ewout K. Really, that unexpected 10 faults in the second day of team jumping would be a contributor to Kuwait's slip down into the team bronze medal position, and of course to have Ali down here in 9th rather than really we'd expected to see him maybe top 5. If he'd stayed on his 4-point score, he would have been 4th, just in front of Rayan Leong coming into this final day. And the problem for guys like Ali now on, not a bad score of 14, especially if he can go clear here in round 1 and prove that he can do it. Our top 4 haven't touched a pole this entire championships. Double clear Rayan Leong, double clear Kenneth Cheng, double clear Elawang, double clear Taisa Sugitani. Another clear at the water, 100% record at the water at the moment. They've all been clear there. Nicely ridden down that line. And again, our medalist from the Asian Games last year is just showing a little bit more experience that translates into ability to read and answer these Olaf Pedersen questions. Look at the time as well. 87 seconds the time allowed. It's all to play for. He's just not in a super spot coming down to that last, but he makes it happen. An effective ride there from Ali Al-Kharafi and Ewood K to stay on 14.0 championship penalties.
84-1-8, clear and well remained on the score. He joins us. He's on the 14, and we will see him back in round number 2.
I don't know, we're just getting a false data there. It wasn't 4 in this round, it was clear, so it is 14 points for Ewout and Ali Al-Kharafi.
And we call for our arena party. There's a plastic bag sitting in front of the white BMW arena.
So, for the Philippines, 3 members of the Filipino team came together to deliver a team silver. Marie-Antoinette Leviste and Loribri go now on 13.7 penalties, lying 8th overnight for the Philippines.
3 rails separating her and a gold medal here. It's all to play for the next 8 athletes. Marie-Antoinette Leviste and Loribri for the Philippines on 13.70.
So Marie-Antoinette Leviste, just 2 of the Filipino riders are going to ride today. Joker Ario electing not to come back to us for this round of jumping, although would have been qualified. Marie-Antoinette, a Sydney Olympian back in 2000, twice a World Games rider, including last year in Tryon, North Carolina. Team and individual medalist at Southeast Asian Games, and of course riding for the Philippines at Asian Games level. The Asian Games sits over these Asian Championships in terms of level, and it's a multi-sport games run under the auspices of the Asian Olympic Committee. It's so easy to come around that corner and just look at the 2 fences, the vertical and the triple bar, and wonder, just have that blank moment in your mind, which one am I aiming for? Just starting to really get, again, we're looking at an Olympic level rider here now when it comes to the Philippines. Marie-Antoinette Leviste with Loribri. Oh, that shouldn't have been rattled harder, and yet stayed. It is clear round number 2 of this day of competition, and Marie-Antoinette Leviste is going to stay on 13.7, just in front of Ali Al-Kharafi, and in 8th position in the championships.
Later on here this afternoon, but she will form part of the top 12 for return, and the story continues for them here.
The other interesting thing I was saying about, why people have come back with big scores or something, especially these top 10 guys. Taisa Sugitani is here on such a good horse, riding so well with all his experience, that these guys are saying to come top 10, to come silver medal, to come bronze medal to Taizo, the way he's going this week, is going to be an honour. And they all want to come and see how close they can measure up to Taizo.
A single medal with this horse. At China for Hong Kong, China on a score of 11.48.
So Patrick Lamb. Patrick, 3 medals already this week. Team and individual medalist with the eventers for Hong Kong and team gold here in show jumping as well. Patrick, who was an Olympian in show jumping in Hong Kong 2008 and has been an Asian Games contender and medalist in both jumping and eventing over the last few years. Rode this horse at the Olympic Games regional qualifier in Valkenswaard in the Netherlands. Claron CR by Clearway, and he sits in 7th on 11.48 penalties. He is nothing in hand really over Marie-Antoinette Levesque and Laribri. Score of 13.7 for Marie-Antoinette. Our top 10, I think, are just about to start showing exactly why they're inside our top 10 as we get 3 clear rounds in a row and staying on 11.48 penalties. Claron CR and Patrick Lamb. We just saw Corinne Bracken there briefly on the kiss and cry. She'll go back and talk to the home coaches, but the plan, if Patrick Lamb has been executing the team plan for Hong Kong, it bodes very well for Rayan Leung and Kenneth Cheng. He's certainly going to come out with a lot of valuable information for them. He, you know, absolutely talks their language, an Olympic level rider in show jumping for Hong Kong. He's just jumped clear in this impressive meter 50 first round.
Round 1 and then round 2 to follow a little bit later on here. Kairat Nazarov and Go For It B, representing Uzbekistan, sitting on that score.
So we go to another for Uzbekistan, and my goodness, they're not executing a very bad national plan either. 10.63 is the score for 6th position for Kairat Nazarov with Go For It. So Kairat Nazarov, he's going to have the second down. That'll change things very quickly here. 14.63 is going to cost him at least 3 places. Behind those clears of Lamb, Leviste and Al-Kharafi. Kairat with Go For It B rode another horse, Quattro Junior, twice in the Eurasian Championships for his individual and team bronze, and also at last year's Asian Games in Jakarta. So a late falling pole there in the triple combination as well is going to put Kairat on a total of 8. 18.63, you know, going back, that'll go behind Azam Tolibaev's score, outside the top 10 potentially. Patrick Lamb moves up into 6th in the championship. The last goes as well. That ensures it won't be inside the top 10 for Kairat Nazarov. 12 to add here in this first round of jumping. It's 22, goes into 12th on 22.63 at the moment. So actually, just by the skin of his teeth, Kairat Nazarov is going to stay in position to come back for the second round of jumping, but at the cost of 6 places on the order for these championships. So Shane Gerard not able really to follow in the footsteps of the very strong rides from his two teammates, Sedemergon Turgenboev though, and Azam Tolobeev, take great succor from their final day here of jumping over this meter 50 track. We go to our top five. Colin Sikia. Colin, who opened up the account for the Philippines on day 2 of team jumping with an all-important clear, helping to propel them onto the podium and into eventual silver medal position. Colin with Chanel 1 lies 5th on 10.23 penalties. Just seeing that rail come down a lot more than you might have expected. Just thinking back to day 2 of the team jumping, we had fence 1, 2, which Olaf, by his own admission, said they were warm-up fences. He reckoned his course started at number 3 on that track on that day, and he would have done that the earlier days as well. Today, there's none of that. There's no warm-up jumps here in the rink. The warm-up jumps are out back in the warm-up arena. When you come in here, you need to be jumping from the start beam. So Southeast Asian Games rider back in 27, Colin Sikia and Chanel 1 rode in the regional qualifier also for the Olympic Games at Valkenswaard this year. A lot of international showing in the United States of America. It's 14.23 we're looking at now as Colin scores. It's expensive, drops him a minimum of 4 places. So 4 for jumping and 1 for time. 5 in all to add here today for Chanel 1 and Colin Sikia. 15.23 is going to drop from 5th to 8th here in individual round 1, picking up 5 falls.
4 combinations left to go, and there is less than 1 pole separating them all.
We just see them taking the back rail off number 2. That was their only fault for jumps. They also had the time fault for a total of 5. Four more to go. These 4 have all jumped double clear over the 2 days of team jumping. Rayona Leong doing so to contribute to Hong Kong's gold medal. Orphée de Granit is Rayona's ride for these championships here in Pattaya. Rayona was the first ever Hong Kong rider to ride at the World Cup finals, doing so back in 2013. Ridden the 2 most recent World Championships as well, and rode the Asian Games in 2018 in Jakarta with this horse, Orphée de Granit. 4.39 is Rayona's score. And while she has a pole in hand over her nearest contenders, if she can stay on a clear, then a pole for any of the riders still to come will move her up into an individual medal position. Her nearest competitor now is teammate Patrick Lam on 11.48. What a result it would be if 3 of the Hong Kong team riders ended up top 5 in these championships. As I say, over Patrick's score of 11.48, she has breathing room. She has a pole in hand over Patrick to stay in individual 4th. But with the other 3 riders on 2.68, 2.31 and 2.01, and Rayona herself on 4.39, she needs to stay clear to try and pile on the pressure and try and snatch one of those individual medals. As we said, if Patrick Lamb was riding to a team plan, the information he brought out as a result of giving us one of our very first clears will have been invaluable. And so it proves to be. Rayana Leung is clear, and 4.39 remains Rayana's score. Just our fourth clear round of the competition so far, 2 of them for Hong Kong.
Can she get herself up onto that podium? We'll have to wait and see. What a great round there. Rayana Leung of Hong Kong, China.
So she can't be touched for 4th position.
She keeps a score of 4.39. You can see in those replays just how gymnastic and athletic that horse is. We've got 3 left here in this round number 1, and they are so close. Now, well done. Today, Taizo Sugatani on 2.01, Ella on 2.31, and here is Kenneth Chang. Another of the Olympians in the field today, another one that is here for Hong Kong, China as part of the team that took the gold medal. Tyson AZ.
Kenneth Cheng goes next, lying in bronze medal position. Kenneth on just 2.68 penalties after the jumping so far here in Pattaya. Kenneth with Tyson AZ. Kenneth, an Olympian alongside Patrick Lamb back in 2008. Grand Prix winner at Bonheiden this year, and also rode at the Olympic qualifier at Valkenswaard. And that was the point that Chinese Olympian Alex Hua Chan made when we were speaking to him the other day, how a lot of these regional qualifiers, a lot of the championships previously have actually been held outside the geographical area of Asia. So to have the nations of Asia coming together here in Southeast Asia, in Thailand, to ride for these medals here for the first time is a really important step for the region. Just leaves a toe on that rail, pushes it to the edge of the cup, but it stays. Makes light work of that water, lands a solid foot probably beyond the landing tape. Positive down there, leaves out on the way to the BMW. Very nicely ridden, 8 strides to the last. It was never in doubt, that last fence. And Corinne Bracken and her team on the kiss and cry are jubilant once again as they get a 3rd clear round. Just like yesterday or 2 days ago in the team, 3 clear rounds to stay on their overnight score and take gold. Now their best 3 riders score zeros again to all stay not just eligible for the 2nd round, but all inside the top 5. 5th, 4th and 3rd. Patrick Lamb, Rayana Leung and Kenneth Cheng. So, Yunying Ella Wang is our next to go. Kidami Adi for China, individual rider for China at these championships, just 2.31 on her scorecard after the first 3 days of jumping. Also trained by German Nations Cup rider Mike Leschler, who we've seen alongside Rayana Leung this week as well. So Kenneth Cheng has really put the pressure on here. So of course is Rayan Leung, because a pole will drop her 2 places and out of the individual medals going into the second round. They've got the measure of the 6 strides coming into that triple combination. They knew from the get-go that they had to respect that triple. Just dangled the horse a little bit in the air before riding up to that water. Yeah, these more positive rides down there on 7. We've seen plenty come on 8, we've seen plenty successful on 8 down to the BMW, but these top riders now are likely individual medalists, just very positive off the Oxer at the top with the Seahorses down to the BMW on 8. And this is another clear round, and it's 2.31 championship score still for Ella Wang. Clear after clear after clear from Chinese individual Ella Wang here in Pattaya this week, and stays in silver medal position with the next round of jumping still to come.
2.31 and well progressed forwards. All she's got to do is leave them up in the second round, and she's guaranteed at least a silver medal. 1 left to come here in the first round.
There's the result of 2.31 for Ella Wang for China.
The next man in the last round of this round is someone who's been to 6 Olympics, 6 World Equestrian Games, 2 World Cup finals, and regular exclusion medals.
1 more to go. Remember, we're going to be back in action with round 2 at 4:15 this afternoon. So join us from 4:15 onwards. We're going to catch up with some of our leaders and some more Atmos here after this last round as well, before we take a broadcast break as we go to Taizo Sugatani and Heroin Demuse for Japan. 2.01 for Taizo. He was second on day 1 in the Table C speed and hasn't had a rail in any round of jumping. Taizo, the 6-time Olympian, 6-time World Games rider for Japan as well. As we mentioned, some of the riders and coaches were saying that they would almost, the way he's been jumping this week, the caliber of horse he's brought to these championships, it would almost be an honor to be silver medalist to Taizo this week, but it is not guaranteed. Taizo has to jump clear. Twice a World Cup finalist, he's been many times a medalist at the Asian Games. He rode this horse at last summer's Asian Games, and this horse jumping to the 5-star Grand Prix level, meter 60 in Europe. But having a horse that's meter 60 capable doesn't necessarily mean you're coming into cruise for a medal, because once they get familiar at the meter 60, they sometimes don't respect the lower jumps. It's very much about the horse's personality, how that will play out. It's clear. A rub there coming through the decorated pillars double at the end. But Taizo Sugatani stays as he has been for nearly the whole week as our leader on 2.01. The Japanese rider is going to be our leader going into round 2.
And he will stay in that gold medal position as he moves forward into the final chapter of this story. In round 1, it was really close.
So a fantastic round of jumping there from Taizo Sugatani. Taizo remains our leader on 2.01, the score he picked up on day 1 in the speed. Well, 12 riders know that they are eligible to come back. They'll start their preparations to come back, and we will be jumping from 4:15 onwards. Join us from 4:15. Let's have a look at where we are. Taizo Sugatani, Ella Wang, Kenneth Cheng, Rayan Oleng, no change. Patrick Lam, though, moves up into 5th. Marie-Antoinette Leviste and Loribri for the Philippines. Al-Kharafi on his 14 points, the day one leader, 7th. Colin Sikia for the Philippines. Azam Tolabeev, Al-Raudan for Kuwait. Kechavaz for Iran, and the other good round there, Nazarov for Uzbekistan, 22 points. Here's the riders who won't be able to come back, unfortunately, for this individual final to come. But what a jumping start we've had to the day. If the second round is to be anything like as dramatic as have so few clear rounds, just 7 clears out of 33% of our riders pretty much went clear. We had to wait a long while. The quality, the cream, really rising to the top here. Well, let's catch up with Sarah Rippon, who's got some of the atmosphere between the rounds.
Yes, well, John, I am down here at the in-gate. It's getting exciting down here, and I'm delighted to be joined by event director Jerry Q, who's been so integral and part of getting this competition on the ground. You must be so delighted how these first championships have turned out.
Yes, I'm very, very happy. I'm very honored to be here myself for the first Asian Championships, the inaugural, and being part of the legacy. We have to thank Grimm and the Thai Equestrian Federation for putting this on for all of us to be here. I thank the organizers, the contractors, the participants. We are all thrilled to be here and feel so honored to be part of this first ever Asian Championships.
Well, it's been really exciting seeing all the different disciplines taking their turn to get their medals, but this really is a special venue.
Yes, this is one of a kind. You can't find something like this anywhere in the world. You see it on TV, you know exactly this is Thai polo.
Yeah, we're definitely, and we've been really, really enjoying the competition today because really it is the finale down to those last 12.
Thanks, Sarah, and congratulations to Jerry Q and all the team from Thai Polo, Thai Equestrian Federation and Grimm on the success of these inaugural championships. So we'll be back for our final 12 jumping rounds at 4:15 this afternoon to conclude the jumping championships here. But let's have a look back at some of the action so far. Bad if it ends up being top 10, because this is actually the first international show for Colin, together with this horse Chanel 1, shown until 2016-2017 by Guillaume Billecart in France. What a shame, just on the way home. Into time as well, 4 for jumping, 1 for time for Colin Sakia and Chanel 1, 5 to add, will be 20.23. It takes a little bit of pressure off the riders still to come, but it holds on to 8th position. Here you just see how he didn't just maybe have the relationship he wanted with the horse at number 2. Actually settled into a great round of jumping. Here they are coming to the second last, and just taps it in front. It's a late falling pole, and it is, it's the second last jump of a week-long championships. You understand how the riders just are going to have to work so hard to keep quality and activity into their horses' canters, so they get good jumping right the way to the last. The leader on day 1 of our championships, Ali Al-Kharafi, he's now still inside the top 10, lying 7th on a score of 14. Ali with Ewout, the Belgian warm blood, by Wolfgang out of a Darko mare. Ali Al-Kharafi, the individual gold medalist at last year's Asian Games, he's going to tap that BMW fence as well. It's a tough line to have in as the 1 and 2 on this. It picked up a lot of faults in the earlier round when it was later on the course. Just lets the horse drift a little bit through the right shoulder as he rides up to that double, and then when he had his spot, he closed the legs and hands and then went straight forward and rode the 4 strides on then to the fence, which now follows, a new fence on course. Just drifts a little bit inside the double there. He went a little bit left of centre coming out, which meant that he had to hang up a little bit on that turn around the max win. He's much tighter in than many. Many have been right over to the advertising boards coming back to these gongs. Rattles the max win, but it stays in place. This would be the time, Ali, to start jumping the clears again, because it's been a day or 2 since we've seen him leave the poles up until the earlier round today. Oof. Takes the rub, just Ali really shifting his own weight there. Ali Al-Kharafi and Ewout add nothing to their championship score. He's going to finish the week on 14, going to finish the week in a minimum of 7th position.
Ali Al-Kharafi representing Kuwait stays on that score moving forwards. Less than 3 rails separate him from the gold medal today.
Just does touch this first rail.
Because we've got some fantastic talent featuring in our final.
And here on the final line, Ali really hard shifts himself over into his left stirrup just over those last 2 jumps. First clear of this round of jumping for Ali Al-Kharafi and Ewout. Total of 14 faults. How close might it bring him to the podium, having been a bronze medalist with the team 2 days ago? Silver medalist with her team 2 days ago, Marie-Antoinette Leviste and Le Ribri. 13.7 is Marie-Antoinette's score, and therefore she has nothing in hand, not even a time fault over Ali Al-Kharafi. Twice a World Games rider, including just last summer in Tryon, North Carolina. Marie-Antoinette was a Philippine Olympian back in 2000. Well, quite the wake-up call over number 1 for Leviste. First time it goes. Actually just came a little bit left of centre, and it might have shortened up the distance, the 4 strides coming up there. So 17.7, that drops her place. 1 more pole, she could go behind teammate Colin Sakia as well. And there it goes. So Colin Sakia moves up now as well, as Marie-Antoinette Leviste is on 21.7. Again, another one to ride out wide and then jump back across that fence to get the distance they want up here to the Thai elephants. The final line on 8, having dropped 2 places as a result of those faults, and it will just be the 8:79.06 on the clock for Marie-Antoinette Leviste and Loribri. So 21.7 and 8th position for Marie-Antoinette Leviste. As I say, that is going to drop her to 8th, bringing Ali Al-Kharafi and Colin Sakia up a place each.
I'm like, oh, good.
Jump good, Benji. Very good. Good, Tony. She jumped very good. Very proud. Very good.
So still will be guaranteed top 10 for Marie-Antoinette Leviste as we prepare to go into our top 5. 3 of the top 5 for Hong Kong. They're all going to come one after another. 3 riders who are part of the gold medal winning team for Hong Kong here 2 days ago. Jumping a lot of clears this week is this man, Patrick Lamb. Not just here in the show jumping, where he helped contribute to that team gold, but he's also a team and individual medalist in the eventing discipline at these championships as well. Patrick Lamb and Clarence Sillard jumped in the Olympic qualifier this year, took a Grand Prix win in Germany this summer as well. Patrick, a show jumping Olympian, and at the Asian Games level, an individual and team medalist in both jumping and eventing. That score of 11.48 means he has nothing in hand really over Ali Al-Kharafi. He can't afford a pole to stay top 5. He looks back, he heard that, and he knew he was left of centre. He knew he'd just let the horse come through his inside hand a little bit on the bending line. So Patrick knows he's maybe used up his luck. He's pretty deep out on the turn. We saw Ali Al-Kharafi come in tighter than anyone else on his way to be our first clear round. Timeline looks okay. Just one more to go for Patrick Lamb to nail down top 5 here in these championships. And that is what he does, 79.62, just inside, but inside enough. Nothing to add for Patrick Lamb, 11.48. He holds off the challenge of Ali Al-Kharafi and can finish no lower than 5th.
That horse has jumped the last 3 rounds we've seen it jump clear on such consistent form. So stays on 11.48. Now we really do get to the business.
Looking back at that one, I love that. He knew he hadn't just quite got it right, and when he heard the noise, my goodness, he just thought, have I torn it apart. Reina Leon, World Games rider, Asian Games rider, first ever Hong Kong rider at a World Cup finals. Reina with Orphée de Granit holding 4th overnight. Again, adding nothing since day one. Still on her day 1 score of 4.39. Again, for Reina, she actually has a little bit in hand, but what she'd love to do is come home, nail down this 4.39 score, and be ready then to capitalise if any of those currently in a run for the individual podium were to have an error, because on 4.39, as soon as they had a pole, they would go right behind her. 4 strides up to that new fence flanked by the statues. So they come in the same order again, these Hong Kong riders, but Patrick Lam was able to go in, ride the plan, come back, report on the plan. They don't have that luxury this time. Reina is out here riding blind. Patrick was in immediately before her in the ring, but gets great support from trainer Mike Leckler, with whom she's been training for a number of years, German Nations Cup and Championship rider. Who also interestingly trains Ella Yang, who comes as individual silver medalist. Reina Leng into time. Just the one for time for Reina Leng. So that's 5.39. She is still ready to pounce. If any of the top 3 have a pole, she will overtake them. Reina Leng, 1 for time, 5.39. That's the first penalty she has added to her day 1 score here in this whole week of jumping, including jumping double clear for her nation to help secure team gold here 2 days ago.
So she sits on 5.39. Kenneth Chan is next to go. If he has a reel out there today, he is off the podium. Kenneth Chan, Hong Kong, China, Tyson AZ on 2.66.
Reina, just a quick high five with Ella Wang. They share the same home coach. And here's Kenneth Cheng. Kenneth jumped double clear for his country as well. Team gold 2 days ago. Added nothing all week to his 2.68 score achieved on day 1. Kenneth and Tyson AZ riding for at least individual bronze. Kenneth rode alongside Patrick Lam at those 2008 Olympic Games. Grand Prix winner in Europe this summer. And this horse has a great stride to cover ground, because they never look super fast, but they have never been troubled by any of the time allowed set by Olaf Pedersen this week. Again, just looks so relaxed, so capable, so much within their ability. Oh, we just have that little rattle, a hard rub at the tuk-tuks coming out of that double. Is that just going to be enough to get this horse back in the air for the rest of these meter 50 Grand Prix level jumps all the way home? The riders now, Kenneth can afford one. He can afford a time fault over Reina Leng. But if he is clear, Ella Wang and Taizo can't even afford a time fault to stay in front of him. And he is just going to be into time. Clear for jumping, 1 for time for Kenneth and Tyson. They just wanted to be very deliberate to make absolutely sure of it. They open up the margin though, 3.68, and that now means that Ella Wang, still to come, can afford a time fault and stay in front of Kenneth Cheng. A clear, and he would have been absolutely deadly to them. Now he's given them a slight ray of hope.
She's on 2.31 penalties. It's the same story as Kenneth. Anywhere on track, and she's off that podium today.
I think asking whether he had the time fault, but the kiss and cry couldn't be happier. 3 rides for Hong Kong, 3 jumping clears, 2 with time faults, still sitting in 3rd, 4th and 5th as a minimum. Yunjin, Ella Wang and Ki Damian. 2.31 the score for Ella. Just cruising through this championships as an individual for China. Only just taken over the ride on this horse, Kidamia, as well. They don't have a lot of mileage as a partnership, so that makes their performance this week all the more impressive. And again, like she did in the first ride, goes down there on 7. The top riders making the 7 happen down that first line. Just let the horse a little bit flat over the Thai Polo, but gets the 8 strides and actually has a super canter on the 4 strides into that -50 vertical. Again, when you look at these top riders, when you look at these top riders ordinarily, it doesn't look like there's any chance of having a pole, because she wanted to be on the correct distance through that double. It's triple bar in, so she comes down on the back rail of the triple bar. We've seen it happen wherever he's used that triple bar, and it's 4 faults. Kenneth Cheng now is up into at least silver on 6.31. Rayana Leung has moved onto the individual podium as well. This has potentially, one rail has cost Ella Wang, her first rail of the week has potentially cost Ella Wang an individual medal here today. She's got to bring it home on just the 4. 4 and 1. Total of 5. 7.31. It is just going to be dropping the 2 places though. Kenneth Cheng and Rayana Leung move up. Ella Wang can finish no lower than 4th, but the chances are it is going to be 4th in the final analysis.
That means though that Kenneth Cheng will
just doesn't get the most comfortable of jumps anyway, because Ella was just trying to manage so that they landed steep and landed on the spot they wanted to get the distance out to the next jump. Well, Taizo was interviewed before these championships in his European base and said this was his aim, to be in this position riding for the gold on Sunday afternoon in Pattaya. That's exactly what he's achieved. The only day he hasn't been in the lead in this championships was on day 1, when he was bested by 4 seconds in the speed, but he hasn't touched a rail. Taizo Sugatani and Heroin Demuse riding for the gold. Japanese 6-time Olympian, Asian Games team and individual medalist, riding his Asian Games horse from last summer in Jakarta. Clear so far. Remember, a pole will cost him 2 places. The drop from gold to bronze and give gold to Kenneth Cheng. But like I've been saying, so many of the riders, so many of the trainers have just been watching Taizo this week and saying it's simply going to be an honor to be on the podium with him, because the way he's been riding, the way his horse has been going, he richly deserves this title. But he has to earn it, he has to work for it, he has to jump clear. 1 fence away from Asian Championships gold, and Taizo Sugatani for Japan. The only way he could have been more perfect this week is to have won on day 1. Clear day 2, clear day 3, clear earlier on this afternoon, and now clear under extreme pressure. Taizo Sugatani finishes on his day 1 total and takes gold by 1.64 penalties. He had 1 time fault in hand, that was it, over Kenneth Cheng of Hong Kong, who's moved up into individual silver, and Rayana Leung of Hong Kong is going to take individual bronze.
Then, of course, closing ceremony still to come. We've got the bagpipes, some special awards. We've got the fireworks to come for you as well, and our non-marker is...
Well, Taizo and his horse just go to the compulsory FEI stewards check to confirm everything is in order, but he looks up in relief because he is now the gold medalist at these first Asian Championships. Patrick Lam there amongst the first. Congratulate him, Patrick, who's going to be just off the podium for Hong Kong, but top 5, 3 Hong Kong riders in the top 5.
But Japan reigns supreme here in Pattaya. Taizo Sugitani will be crowned as a gold
Just looking back on the final line, this was him riding down for gold. He moves that in the cups.
Coming down towards the Bangkok gates, and then really sorted it out down to the last stop start.
But perfection all week long for Taizo Sugitani and Heroin de Muse to take our final medal of the championships. It's the individual gold in show jumping, and it goes to a 6-time World Championships level rider, 6-time Olympian for Japan, Taizo Sugitani. A deserving and popular winner here today.
But we're getting ready for that prize-giving ceremony as well. So do stay with us.
Well, the medal ceremony is going to be coming up here shortly.
It went right to the wire today. He is simply amazing. And
we're going to catch up with our winner, Taizo Sugitani, before then as well. But do please stay with us for the medal ceremony to act as the culmination and climax of these Asian Championships for 2019. The first time they've come together, they're going to become a feature of the calendar, running on the 2-yearly cycle as Taizo Sugitani takes gold over Kenneth Cheng, Rayan Uleng in 3rd. Ella Wang unfortunately dropping to 4th with Patrick Lam in 5th. Al-Kharafi and Ewood, our day 1 leader, fought back to 6th. Colin Sakia of the Philippines 7th. Marie-Antoinette Leviste, his teammate, in 8th. Azam Tolobaev with 9th. Keshevaz of Iran in 10th. Al Raudan of Kuwait 11th. And, 2 Kuwaiti riders there inside our final analysis, and Nazarov for Uzbekistan makes it 2 for that nation as well, with 35.63 at the end of all of the day's jumping. But simply to get into this final is a great achievement, and 12 really impressive riders there from amongst our starting field here in Pattaya for 2019. But all week it's been about Taizo Sugitani, and he's made it all about him by the way he's been jumping with Heroin de Muse, and he seals the deal then with the clear he needed today for individual gold. There's Rayan Uleng in her Hong Kong jacket in the background, an individual medalist sitting off the podium overnight in both rounds. Imagine that she was maybe going to have to settle for that 4th place, but moving up onto the podium. So the press scrummage starts for our Asian Championships gold medalist. But not just the attention on Taizo here today, but all of our medalists, all of our finalists getting their fair share of the limelight here today as a result of these Asian Championships. So looks like it's very nearly time to go down to Sarah Rippon to talk to our new gold medalist.
Hi, well, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by our gold medalist, Taizo Sugitani. You must be absolutely delighted. That was just clear. Unbelievable.
Well, I had a lot of pressure, of course. I had to go clear. My horse was in top form, so we just had to do it, focus, and my mare jumped amazing today.
Your horse was incredible. It seemed like a really tough course, that second round. What were your feelings going into the ring before you were doing that?
So the second round is more tough. I guess it was my day because she touched the last 2, but stayed on, and amazing feeling.
And the event has been so exciting. It's an amazing venue. What were your thoughts coming to Pattaya?
Amazing here, really. I mean, really, I must thank the organizer here, doing the best. I mean, everything turned out to be great, and I assume it was a great sport to watch.
Well, we've absolutely enjoyed watching you. A real masterclass in show jumping. Thank you very much, John. Gold medal winning. Go and enjoy your prize giving.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Great to hear from Taizo there. To say he was under pressure, I mean, he came in and he just cruised to it, and he had put his marker down in Europe in an interview this summer to say that he wanted to come here and win that medal. Kenneth Cheng and Rayan Leung taking very, very good results for Hong Kong. Pat Lam will be delighted with the top 5 as well. Ella Wang and Kidami, a disappointment for them, heartbreak after such a week of jumping to drop off the podium entirely down to 4th. 2 for the Philippines, 2 for Kuwait, 2 for Uzbekistan, and 1 for Iran, also making it through to the final 12 eligible to jump for the individual medals here with us in Pattaya today. Well, as you can see, the red carpet out ready for the VIPs who will be making the medal presentations here in a few minutes' time. But plenty of reaction behind the scenes as well, as the riders get ready for that medal ceremony and continue their celebrations. And there is Heroin Demuse, and there's one of the Hong Kong horses as well, Tyson and Orphe de Granit.
FEI Asian Championships 2019 นะครับซึ่งเป็นรางวัลสำหรับประเภทกระโดดข้ามสิ่งกีดขวางประเภทบุคคลครับในขณะนี้เจ้าหน้าที่กำลังเตรียมที่จะเคลียร์พื้นที่และก็พร้อมสำหรับพิธีมอบรางวัลอีกสักครู่ครับและหลังจากจบพิธีมอบรางวัลแล้วนะครับเราจะมีพิธีปิดการแข่งขัน FEI Asia Championships.
Let's go back down as we wait for our medal ceremony. Let's go to Sarah Rippon again.
Hi, well, I'm also joined now by Kenneth Cheng, who has just won a silver medal, highest Hong Kong rider. You must be delighted to get a gold and a silver at this event.
Yeah, I'm super delighted. My horse jumped really well, and the whole team really fought together, and had to thank Jockey Club for the continuous support and everyone that came from Hong Kong to support Team Hong Kong. I was super lucky today, so yeah, Tyson also reacted really well, so super happy, yeah.
And the course did look pretty tough out there. You were pleased with your horse?
Yeah, actually, 2 rounds jumping on the same day is not really our specialty with this horse. He's still inexperienced, but he really tried his best. I was lucky on number 3, kind of woke him up a little bit. So yeah, overall really happy. Team Hong Kong did a really good job here. So
we've really enjoyed watching you. Where now? What's your next thing?
We are still hoping for our Olympic individual spot. So we're keeping our fingers crossed until the 21st. And hopefully with what we achieved this week, we can keep the momentum going and hopefully bring people in Hong Kong and hopefully source something for the Olympics.
Well, we've really enjoyed watching Team Hong Kong. You've been a really, really great crowd and such great support behind the scenes as well. So yes, thank you, John. Over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. So Kenneth Cheng, our individual silver medalist with Tyson AZ, having a super week of jumping himself. 2.68 was his day 1 score, and he finishes on it for silver, as well as being part of the gold medal winning team for Hong Kong. Just in the middle of that shot, Amanda Bond from the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Amanda, who's in charge of all equestrian sport with the exception of racing in Hong Kong. And they've had a super week here. They were very close to having a dressage horses here as well to ensure that they would be able to participate in all 3 of the disciplines at these Asian Championships. And Amanda and through her, the Jockey Club, feel that participation in these Asian Championships and in Asian qualifiers, they sent a team to Saumur this year for the eventing qualifier to just ensure that there was competition. They didn't necessarily have the horsepower to really challenge for eventing qualification, but they still went, they still participated. And that's very much Hong Kong's ethos, and you know, they are one of the real torchbearers for these Asian Championships, being here in Asia. Well, catching up with another of our athletes here from the final day of jumping, Sarah Ripp.
Well, I now have the bronze medal winner, Raina Lung. Oh, that was so emotional watching you because you weren't quite sure, and then to know and see that you've got a medal, what does that mean?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, obviously I knew coming in as fourth, you know, I just had to do my best and really keep my cool. You know, it's never good to wish bad on anybody else, and I really highly respect everyone that was ahead of me. You know, I used to train with Taizo, Kenneth I grew up with, you know, Ella's also training with us, so they all mean something to me, you know, and so regardless of not, you know, if I was going to be on the podium, I was going to be happy for them. But I guess I just had a little bit more luck on my side today.
Were you expecting medals like this?
I was, of course, hoping for one, you know, and I just knew if I jumped clear, then I had a chance, you know, and I knew I did my best, and that was all I could do. Like I said, regardless if I was going to be on the podium or not, I was going to be so happy for anyone that was ahead of me.
And what's next for you? Because where are you based?
I'm based in the north of Germany with Mike Leikle, so I've been there about 8 years now.
And what will you be doing next competition-wise?
Competition-wise, I think we're going to wait till the outdoor season, probably head down south. It's a bit too cold in Germany. The horses will definitely have a bit of a break now, and then we'll plan again for the next year.
Well done. We've really enjoyed watching you. And yeah, that's all our medals. Delighted. Can't wait for the prize giving.
Thank you so much.
So we've heard from all three of our individual medalists. Taisa Sukatani, our Asian Championships gold medalist, Kenneth Cheng of Hong Kong in silver, and Raina Lung in bronze medal position. Those medals still to be awarded, the ceremony on its way here from Pattaya, the first FEI Asian Championships presented by Grimm.
I'm so sorry.
Champion. Thank you. Champion.
Congratulations.
What I told you the first day. Thomas, a long way to here. You know where we have to meet today.
Thank you.
I hope you don't forget it. Eh?
พี่ชายจ๋าหยิบเสื้อสีเหลืองในกระเป๋าเป้ซองให้หนูแล้วให้พี่ปิ๊กวิ่งขึ้นมาให้ทุกคนบอกพี่ปิ๊กมาที่สนามนะคนเสื้อสีเหลืองในกระเป๋าเป้ซอง
Okay, guys, we can go done right away.
โอ้ย
On you.
ปล่อยสิกูจะถอยหลังไปวิ่งออกมา
As we get ready to welcome forward our medal winners, we're first of all going to invite forward our VIP guests to join us for this medal giving ceremony.
We welcome now our VIPs for today's medal ceremony. Her Royal Highness Princess Sirowanawari Nariratna.
Also joining
Mr. Harold Link, President of the Thai Equestrian Federation, Nunathi Tanna, Vice President of the Thai Equestrian Federation, Rakshan Radpur, the technical delegate for show jumping at these championships, and Pongthep Sharavatnong, Vice President of the Thai Equestrian Federation.
So they come forward now to make this medal prize giving ceremony alongside Pongthep Sharavatnong, Vice President of the Thailand Equestrian Federation. And then, ladies and gentlemen, as we turn our attention up towards the gateway, please welcome forward your medalists, led in by Taizo Sugitani of Japan, your gold medalist.
And here now come our medal-winning athletes. They're wonderful horses. Heroine de Muse for Taizo Sugitani, Tyson AZ for Kenneth Chang, and Orphée de Granit for Rayan Leung. Japan and 2 for Hong Kong, China are medalists here in show jumping for 2019 in Pattaya. You just see there, 6-time Japanese Olympian, 6 times at the World Championships, Asian Games medalist, but still the smile from ear to ear for Taizo Sugitani and Heroine de Muse. Just showing how much this gold medal means as the Asian Championships come to Asia. So with our medalists lined up on their spots on the podium, it is time to fill that podium. And we'll be starting with our bronze medalist. A smile and a smile of relief, I think, for Taizo, as Kenneth Cheng congratulates our gold medalist. Rayan Leung of Hong Kong, China is invited to her step at the podium. The German-based rider adding nothing to her day one score to finish in individual bronze medal position. Our silver medalist stepping up to his place, Kenneth Cheng, both of them double clear for their nation, helping to win team gold earlier on this week. So Hong Kong will take a gold, a silver and a bronze in the sport of show jumping. And stepping up, the gold medalist and Asian champion, Taizo Sugitani of Japan.
To award our medals, our flowers, and our very cute cuddly horses, courtesy of Max. When making the presentation today is Her Royal Highness Siliwanawali Nalilandatana.
Her Royal Highness Princess Siliwanawali presents the championship medal,
by Mr. Harold Link, President of the Thailand
the flowers and championship mascot to Rayan Leung of Hong Kong, China.
The Thailand Equestrian Federation, Rakshan Radpur, technical delegate for jumping here in the championships.
Kenneth Cheng, Tyson AZ receiving his individual silver medal.
Start by presenting the bronze medal to Rayan Leung of Hong Kong, China. The silver medal to Kenneth Chang of Hong Kong, China. And then finally, our gold medal, Taizo Sugitani, Japan.
Our individual gold medalist receives his medal, the flowers and the championship mascot from Her Royal Highness Princess Siliwanawali.
The flowers, the horse and the medals have all been presented to our athletes.
The Princess herself a gold medalist this week with the Thai team in dressage last Sunday.
To Taizo Sugitani, who takes
Princess also presents the B. Grimm Cup, presented by presenting sponsors B. Grimm and Dr. Harold Link of B. Grimm and the Thai Equestrian Federation alongside the Princess for these presentations. Also as part of our presentations we have Ninthi Tanna of the Thai Equestrian Federation, Rakshan Radpur, the technical delegate for the sport of show jumping, and Phongtep Shiravatnong, the Vice President of the Thai Equestrian Federation.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Taizo Sugitani,
gold medalist and Asian champion, Taizo Sugitani of Japan.
2019. And we're going to invite our athletes now to join in the middle.
Being congratulated now by the other members of the presentation party here with us today.
We get some official photographs here before sending them on their victory gala. So our athletes joined by our VIPs, we get those photos and then we're going to invite them to get back on board in just a couple of moments' time. We invite our VIPs to join with their athletes for those official photographs here at the FEI Asian Championships Pattaya 2019.
So, Japan taking the gold medal. It is Hong Kong Kenneth Cheng, Hong Kong Raina Leng with silver and bronze. But Taizo Sugitani takes the championship here. The riders return to their horses left in the safe care of their grooms for the duration of this medal ceremony. Again, we'd just like to recognise the tremendous work done behind the scenes by all of our grooms throughout all of the disciplines coming together here at the FEI Asian Championships Pattaya 2019.
Put on a great show for us here this afternoon. We really have been treated to some wonderful international sport, and now they are about to head off on that victory gala. Just waiting on the final athlete getting on board, and it's that time for the thing that they all look forward to. Well, the athletes are in place. It is time for the lap of honour, and leading us away, you'll remember this is the day he became a gold medalist here. Taizo Sugitani.
Well, time for one final lap of honour, not just for show jumping, but for the entire FEI Asian Championships. We started with team dressage a week ago and have gone through with Thailand taking that gold medal. Yeah, individual medals for Korea in intermediate and freestyle in dressage. In eventing then, it was a team gold for Thailand and an individual gold as well for Thailand in the shape of Aranatha Mint Shavatanont. And here in show jumping, it has been team gold for Hong Kong and individual gold for Taizo Sugitani. What a week it's been bringing these sports together as an Asian Championships for the very first time, and what a venue it's been here at Pattaya for Thai Polo. And our thanks to Thai Polo, the Thai Equestrian Federation, and presenting sponsors B. Grimm for making it all happen. Thank you, of course, to our host broadcast team here in Pattaya as well for their fantastic coverage of all of the varied disciplines of this sport. But most of all, thank you to you, ladies and gentlemen, all around the world for tuning in and enjoying world-class equestrian sport from these first Asian Championships. From Sarah Rippon, Bobby Haler, Alex Huachan, And myself, John Kyle, it's a goodbye for now, and we look forward to talking to you the very next time.
Centre place on the podium, but he is so calm and so cool under pressure. He got the job done, and Taizo Sugitani takes the gold here at the FEI Asian Championships Pattaya 2019. Well, our athletes are heading to the press conference.